War is humanity's darkest creation, a manifestation of pride, greed, and hatred. It is all built off of struggle and conflict. It has haunted our history, leaving behind scars that define nations and destroy lives. A never-ending cataclysmic man-made tragedy. My name is 𝐁𝐿𝐿𝐿, and I'm the developer of Black Raven, an indie game that delves into these themes of anger,
we're taking the bus,
loss,
holy fuck, thanks for the 20 Dan,
and vengeance. This is my very first devlog, and I'm very thrilled to share the journey behind this project with you. At its heart, Black Raven is a deeply personal exploration of Slavic history, culture, and folklore, told through the lens of a bleak and gripping medieval tale. Black Raven is a 2.5D action slasher that combines sprite-based characters with a richly detailed 3D world. Set in 14th century Ukraine, the game blends historical realism with the dark mysticism of Slavic folklore. First, before I get into any of the gameplay or mechanics, I want to get into the story and narrative. So this story follows Ivan, a young man with a wife and child living in the calm plains of serfdom upbringing. I am designing Ivan to be a man of humble origin, no special powers, no dark edgelord upbringing. He's just a chill, normal guy, trying to feed his family and survive day by day. But as you play into the story, Ivan's life takes a turn for the worst. One day, Ivan's family homestead is ravaged, pillaged, and burnt to the ground. His wife Matilda is taken right in front of him, and her body is left for dead, while his son Oleg, who has been bound and abducted, is taken far away. All of this happening very quickly and unforgivingly. And yes, all of this happens at the very start of the game, all in the prologue. What a way to start a game. Ivan comes home from gathering firewood to see this horrific scene, and before he could do anything, he is ambushed, beaten, and taken to be by the scornful group of pillagers. He is left for dead, but in a stroke of luck, he is able to break free and escape from his death, only to be reminded of what had just happened. After the horrific and brutal ordeal that occurred in his family, you can only imagine the psychological effects it has on him, especially after him seeing. After taking it solely upon himself, Ivan now has the burden of not only seeking revenge on those who crossed him, but searching for his son. It's a story about the will of a singular individual who, despite his languid background, rises up, or rather delves deep into a dark area, something uncharacteristic, all because he was beaten and taken advantage of what he cared about most. Ivan's psyche is viciously tested on all levels, culminating in a highly sophisticated character in which you get to see grow throughout the story of Black Raven. Now donning the anti-hero vigilante mantle of the Black Raven, Ivan's journey takes him through the war-torn lands of Herediniar, a fictional city right here, or rather right here, in the year 1360, right when the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, Golden Horde, Rus Kievan states reside, right in this little grey area, somewhere in modern-day northeastern Ukraine. Now, I've always wanted to make a game set in the Kievan Rus/Golden Horde era, in the medieval Slavic lands, and explore the different cultures, folklore, and history, and mix it all into one big melting pot of Slavic history. So in this specific time period, in this particular area, if we want to be historically accurate, the lands were strewn with Mongols, Lithuanians, and Slavs from the Rus Kievan states. But I don't want to be historically accurate, at least not fully historically accurate, only for the narrative's sake. Remember, I want to be inclusive to the Slavic bloc and in and around the entire 14th century as well as other similar time periods. This area has seen Slavs, Poles, Mongols, Tatars, and even Turks. Here is a sheet of enemy concepts. I've even included Vikings, but I think I'm stretching the truth just a little bit, so I'm probably scrapping this concept, but you get the idea. The thing I want to do with the enemies is create a sort of difficulty/family system with each of these factions, so-called, similar to the different mob families you see in Minecraft, or infected groups in The Last of Us. That, and also a change of scenery from time to time, since it'll be boring for the player to be fighting the same enemies over and over again. And plus, I want some cool historical variety. So essentially, as said before, this game will be a big soup of Slavic culture, meaning I want to add full language support for not only English, but also possibly Lithuanian, definitely Ukrainian, Polish, and Russian. Yes, I also said Russian. And as someone who is ethnically Ukrainian, and even with the small, little incy-wincy predicament currently going on there right now, I won't be a sore loser and make this game inaccessible to other people.
Hello, Biden. It's Zelensky. We need 5 billion
I still want to include the Russian language because Russia is still a part of the Slavic circle, and I don't want to ban a language or make media inaccessible just because of a government's foreign political / imperialistic goals. But I am getting off topic now, so each to their own. If the game's scope will allow, I will contemplate adding Finnish in, and Lithuanian as well, but we will see, because I actually want to get this game finished, unlike some people. But it would be good if I could include them. I could only imagine this game being fully accessible to the main Slavic / Baltic languages, but no promises. This also depends on if I can secure a publisher for Black Raven, which is 80% a deal breaker for releasing this game. Now enough yapping about the story, let's move on to the actual mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetics of Black Raven. Combat in Black Raven is designed to be brutal and skill-based, offering players a choice between 3 distinct weapons. The Claymore, heavy and devastating but slow. The Shashka, light, fast, and agile. The Broadsword, balanced and versatile. I want to include the ability to parry enemy attacks and have a good back and forth system with sword fighting before ending the enemy's life in a beautifully grotesque way. As well as a good sword fighting system, I would like to include a standard health system where you heal by eating historically appropriate foods such as holubtsi, vareniki, blini, etc. to replenish health, all while staying immersed in the culture and time period. As you can see, we have a standard TPS style movement and camera system put in place with abilities to strafe in any direction and run forward. Sweet and simple. As you might have seen from the title of the game and hinted from the time period of which the game takes place in, it may be safe to assume that the Black Death is present in this game, which it is. The main character Ivan dons the icon of the Black Raven to seek his revenge, and you can see that he wears a crow's helmet with a bird-like crest, hence the Black Raven, but it also takes inspiration from the devastating natural disaster of the disease, the bubonic plague. Plague doctors at the time wore beaks laced with herbs to ward off the omen of the Black Death, and I found that to be metal AF, and very convenient that these events happened in the same time period as the Black Raven, so I incorporated it into Ivan's helmet. I also did this because Ivan's previous design looked like ass. How does this have anything to do with mechanical aspects of the game? Well, there are some other elements regarding the Black Death that are present in Black Raven, like maybe some mechanics and narrative plots, but I really don't want to spoil it, so you'll have to wait and see it for yourself when the game comes out, which will probably happen near the end of 2025 or the turn of the next year into 2026, but it's too far away to guess, so we will see. And we just started. So here is something I've been saving until right now: the bosses. Big, villainous, evil bosses. The game needs some sort of boss or bosses, right? But not just any regular bosses, but traditional folklore villains and myths from the Slavic bloc. I know, pretty cool, right? It'll be interesting to add this into the game since folklore villains or any folklore in general from Slavic countries haven't really been fully exposed to the media or any gaming media in that matter. It'll be also awesome to share this for the first time to people who have never known about these historical legends. There will be a variety of these folklore figures that I like to add into the game. These villains will act as a gauntlet, getting harder and harder with each and succeeding one that you encounter. For those who don't know the folklore / mythology of these countries, let me run you through some of the iconic ones. You have Baba Yaga, an ugly looking bitch who flies around in a cauldron and lives in a cottage with chicken feet. It's pretty crazy, right? 𝐁𝐋𝐸 the Deathless, some Rasputin looking motherfucker who stands over 10 feet tall and is apparently immortal. You have 𝐁𝐋𝐀𝐂𝐊, who is a monstrous shapeshifter and is literally and canonically the embodiment of true evil, and many more interesting and culturally significant folklore figures which I would like to add into the game. I was actually thinking of making this game solely grounded with realism, meaning no fantasy elements or myths, etc. Just a realistic narrative, but after taking big inspiration from works like Blasphemous and Berserk, the concept grew until I found it irresistible to add these charismatic elements into the game and turn it into what it is now. Think of it like this: Berserk but made in Ukraine. Ukrainian Berserk. Ukraine. So let me further explain the actual game loop of Black Raven. The game is linear in construction and you essentially go from area to area, traveling throughout these zones one by one and encountering enemies in these areas. These zones will change over time as Ivan traverses the land, and the enemies will also be changing appearances as Ivan encounters factions of the Rus, Lithuanians, Mongols, and perhaps Turks, but I don't want to inflate the scope of the game too much. For example, look at Resident Evil 4. RE4 has 3 main zones: the villages, castle, and island, and the enemies change throughout these zones as well. Then coming back to Black Raven, at the end of these enemy encounters, you will fight one of the previously explained folklore villain bosses, and each of them will be uniquely constructed to challenge the player. And once slaying these bosses, the player will be treated to a cool 2D cutscene, and this broader game game loop continues and goes on and repeats until the end of the game. Black Raven features a distinctive art style that combines rotoscoped sprite animations with a stylized pixelated 2D style. To create the sprites, I first recorded footage of several 3D animations performing movements like strafing, walking, running, and attacking. I wanted to do this in real life with myself, running on a treadmill, but it was just easier to get 3D models. Then I took these clips, which were filmed in 30 or 60 FPS, whichever my recording software captured in, and then purged the frame rate down to around 10 frames per second. These were then rotoscoped over with an outline, and then colored, and then rendered, and then polished. This happened to every frame of the movement cycle, and this achieved a smooth yet raw end result. Since the game is 2.5D, I had to do some magic and force the two-dimensional sprites to force face towards the player's camera to give the illusion that these 2D flat things are actually fully realized and interacting with each other. The atmosphere of the game will be quite bleak, gloomy, and washed over, but still beautiful all at the same time. I will portray the lens of the Don to highlight both sides of the same coin, beauty and ugliness. Since the themes of Black Raven are quite dark, it'd be best to personify it in the actual visual atmosphere. With the non-diegetic audible atmosphere, specifically sound effects, the player has drones, ambiances, and other noises that are meant to instill negative emotions in the player. And with non-diegetic music, the music will be a mix of traditional Slavic music and motifs combined with more contemporary heavy metal or industrial music to really tie in history and emotion all wrapped up together. And that's when the music is playing, which will be kept sparse to let the story carry more weight without unnecessarily adding music to every single scene and undermining the value of it. Basically meaning we will let the cutscenes speak for themselves and keep music to a minimum to let these scenes carry more emotion when no music is playing. So here is the current state of the game. As you can see, we already have this sprite system set up with a movement system with walking, running, looking, and clamped visual space as to not look too far up nor too far down and ruin the visual illusion of the realized sprites in the 3D world. We have some slight noise shake whenever we are left idle or sprinting quickly to add more realism as well. And as you can see, the grass and wheat look seamless when packed into groups. The sprite renderers naturally work well with the vegetation as well. And all of these sprites, as mentioned before, were all made inside IBIS Paint X. What might be puzzling is to see the character on screen at this moment. This isn't the Black Raven, only Ivan at his normal state wearing his casual attire. In the prologue of the game, you get to control Ivan just as he is, a simple farmer. After the prologue, where Ivan's family is attacked and when combat is introduced, that is when you can control Ivan clothed in his vigilante form, but that is to develop for later. I'm also preparing a polished demo for Black Raven to showcase at the next Steam Next Fest, either at February or June, but it's looking to be more closer to the June date at this point, just so I can have plenty of time to fully polish it off in preparation of releasing the demo. The demo will introduce players to Ivan's world, his tragedy, and the visceral combat mechanics that define the experience. And as a final remark, I am committed to authentically representing the Ukrainian/Greater Slavic region's rich history and folklore through Black Raven. I aim to celebrate the shared heritage of the Slavic bloc while telling a story that is deeply rooted in our culture. Speaking of which, Black Raven is now live and available to wishlist on Steam. Be sure to add it to your wishlist and stay updated on the latest development news by joining our Discord community and following my socials. If you'd like to support Black Raven directly, I have a Patreon where you can contribute as little as $1 per month. Additionally, I'll be launching the Black Raven Kickstarter sometime in the future, so stay tuned for that if you're interested in supporting the project further. Lastly, if you're excited about Black Raven, please like and share this video. Your support helps tremendously in spreading the word and getting the game noticed by more people. And to all the slabs out there, share this video with your friends and family so we can get our culture seen by more people and get some big exposure in the gaming space. Anyways, that's it for now. See you all next time. Heroям slava.